Top story this half hour. It's been more than 2 weeks since a teenage girl from Mashpee went missing.
Missing since October 20th.
Every year in the United States, over 500,000 people are reported missing. 40% of them are minors, and girls make up a disturbing portion. That's an estimated 120,000 missing girls a year, nearly 10,000 a month, and close to 400 girls disappear every single day. While many are eventually found, some are never heard from again. So how do these girls go missing? Are they runaways, victims of poor parenting, or are they being taken by people they know, people they trust in moments when they feel the safest? In 2020 alone, 200,000 girls under the age of 18 were reported missing. One of those reports was filed for a girl named Jalajhia Finklea. At just 17 years old, she vanished 7 hours before her 18th birthday. On its own, her story is one of deep sadness and unforgivable betrayal. But in the larger picture, she became what many become: just another girl, another face on a poster, another statistic.
I just want my kid back. That's how I'm feeling. I'm feeling angry.
Jalajhia Finklea was born on October 21st, 2002. Into the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe, one of the oldest Native American tribes on the east coast of the United States. This community has called the land home for over 12,000 years, long before the arrival of settlers. Their beliefs are rich in ancestry, sacredness, and family. One such belief holds that the spirit of an ancestor can guide and protect the young if they are honored and remembered. Jalajhia was raised within this legacy, a daughter of a proud people. But if this tribe is so tightly knit, so rooted in protection, why was no one able to protect her? Why did no one stop a 37-year-old man, her aunt's ex-boyfriend, from entering her life? And how did that relationship end with her 5 months pregnant, shot twice in the head, and left to die in the brush off a Florida highway, over 1,000 miles from home? Jalajhia was the kind of girl who made noise. She laughed hard, talked fast. She was quick-witted, sharp-tongued, and never shy to speak her truth. She loved her family and friends very much. She was fun to be around and was never isolated. Jalajhia was raised by women: her mother, her grandmother, her aunt, women who loved her, women who protected her. And yet, somehow, something slipped through. She had dreams of becoming a singer, an artist. She posted performances online, writing lyrics, many of which never made it out of her bedroom. In some, you could hear the pain. In others, the hope. By the time she was 17, still a minor by law, Jalajhia was already dealing with things no teenager should. She was 5 months pregnant, and no one knew who the father was. Not officially, not publicly. The day before she vanished, she'd been in the middle of a 2-day medical procedure. One that, many believe, was an abortion. She never said it outright, but the silence around it said enough. On the final day of the procedure, the clinic called to inform Jalajhia's mom that her daughter was a no-show. This was a day before she turned 18. Jalajhia's mom would quickly contact the authorities, reporting her daughter missing. When the police arrived at her mother's door, there wasn't much to go on. No signs of a struggle, no notes, no goodbyes. But her mom knew. She told them this wasn't like Jalajhia. She didn't pack a bag. She didn't take a change of clothes. No makeup, no charger, not even her ID. She left wearing slippers. She was supposed to be at the clinic, her mom said. She was supposed to be turning 18 tomorrow. But she never showed up. Not to the clinic, not at home, not anywhere. The police started pulling security footage from the neighborhood, and there she was, clear as day, walking out of the apartment in New Bedford. Calm, unbothered, getting into a 2020 Hyundai Elantra. The car had been rented from Logan Airport just hours before, and the man behind the wheel? Luis Zaragoza, 37 years old, her aunt's ex-boyfriend. A man her family had once trusted. Now he was the last person seen with Jalajhia. And both their phones went dark, turned off along Route 140, almost like someone wanted to disappear. But who was he? Who was Luis Zaragoza? We know he was once in a relationship with Jalajhia's aunt, and that's how he got close to Jalajhia. We know he was 37 when she was 17, but who was he really? Luis Robert Zaragoza, also known as Luis Barbosa, lived in Florida. He moved there sometime after his breakup with Jalajhia's aunt, far from Jalajhia's home in New Bedford, Massachusetts, but he kept coming back, kept showing up. According to those close to the family, he became a regular part of Jalajhia's life. Too regular. He wasn't loud. He wasn't violent, at least not in any documented way. But quiet men can be dangerous too. Luis's own mother told investigators that her son had the emotional capacity of a teenager. She said he battled depression, that he'd even tried to end his own life before. But what he did next went far beyond sadness. In October 2020, just before Jalajhia's 18th birthday, Luis flew from Florida to Boston. He rented a car from Logan International Airport and then drove straight to pick her up. No one knows what was said when she got in. No one knows what promises were made. But we do know this. Within minutes, both their phones went silent. And Luis Zaragoza, this quiet man with a history of instability and a sick obsession, was on the run, driving south, with a girl who was pregnant and possibly carrying his child. Although Luis Zaragoza had turned off his phone and smashed Jalajhia's, investigators still found a way to track him. Through cell tower data, through surveillance cameras, through fragments he didn't think anyone would piece together. He was still in the rental car, the one he was supposed to have returned days ago. He drove from Massachusetts to Florida, then headed west, all the way to Houston, Texas. He stayed there for a while, then doubled back, driving from Texas to Tampa, Florida. All of this, thousands of miles. And in all that time, not a single image of Jalajhia, not on camera, not at a gas station, not in the background of a single clip. Just him, alone. And that's when the dread began to settle in. Detectives were running out of time. If she was still alive, every hour mattered. So they moved fast, securing an arrest warrant for Luis. Officially, it was for theft of a motor vehicle and kidnapping. It was enough. U.S. Marshals and an Okaloosa County Sheriff's deputy tracked him to a McDonald's parking lot in Crestview, Florida. But before they could place him in cuffs, Luis pulled a gun and committed suicide. It was suicide by cop, and investigators would later realize he never intended to be taken alive. He had a long history of mental health struggles, prior suicide attempts, but most telling was the last post he ever made. A simple tweet, IWALYJF, meaning, "I will always love you, Jalajhia Finklea." And then came the most disturbing part. When police recovered his phone, they found a note. But this wasn't a goodbye letter. It wasn't a message for his family or a cry for forgiveness. It was a map, a detailed set of instructions, turn by turn, leading investigators straight to where he'd left her. Following the coordinates, detectives ended up in Fellsmere, Florida, off a desolate stretch of highway. There, in the brush, they found her, 17 years old, 5 months pregnant, shot twice in the head, abandoned, like her life meant nothing. But it did. And now, finally, the truth was no longer silent. If this story moved you, share it. Comment your thoughts below, and subscribe for more stories like Jalajhia's. Stories the world tried to forget, but we won't.